Coming soon.
Okay.
Make sure. Carry on, dude.
Ready when you are.
Can you hear this? Yeah?
No, nothing.
I heard it. Just kidding.
Yeah, fuck.
I want to make sure you can't.
Yeah,
Time to go.
come on.
Shut up and sit down. Here we go.
Would you kindly? I think we're just getting started. Medic! I'm a witcher.
I think this is more than you can handle.
He sits on his ass all day.
Let's do this.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to your live broadcast of episode 571 of the Overseas Connection podcast. Today is March 22nd, 2020, and we are live from the center point of, well, actually not the center point, but we're right in the midst. Coronavirus, it's crazy, it's nutty, but you know what's not crazy, nutty for once? Our podcast. We're like a well-oiled machine. Every weekend, we are here, Sundays, 9 p.m. in the UK, 1 p.m. on the West Coast, 4 p.m. in the East Coast, 3 p.m. Central Time, except for this week because of Daylight Savings Time. It's thrown everything out of whack, almost as much as coronavirus. Not quite. But so we're a little bit later here in the States, but we're still maintaining a strict regiment for our friends in the UK because we know how much they need strict regiment. So that being said, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. We do have a couple birthdays we should talk about in a moment, but first, we're going to introduce a couple guests. Well, one host, one guest slash host slash foreigner. First, we have Mr. Robin Tate, spinning the decks. Robin,
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here.
Hey.
Robin, you're surviving. How are things out in the wasteland known as Mexico, Ireland?
Not quite sure. It's quite weird. It's very surreal. Lovely day today and yesterday. So my normal weekend would be ploodering around the house. I travel a lot for work, so a normal weekend for me is doing what I've done this weekend. Maybe
Right.
a little less, skipping into the hardware shop or whatever it is to get something. But just it's a sort of surreal thing. But we'll get to that in a second. It's lovely to be healthy-ish and on the show. So
It is. It is. Thank you for making it.
No problem.
Also joining us this week is a foreigner. We're not. We're still getting to know this gentleman. Welcome to the show. How do we say it? I think you're maybe from Italy or something. But Gary D. Felcher Felice. Is that right?
Fellas, I've heard them all. You bastard, you. Yes, I'm back here to ruin. Well, not Robin. Robin's a fine individual, but you here, Greg? Let's go. Let's bring it on. Yeah, but I'm Gary DeFelice. I am the real Defo. I very, very occasionally host on the podcast. I'm happy to be back. When the call came out, obviously here in New York, we are in shutdown mode.
Right.
And there's nothing really to do other than clean the house, make food, clean the house, play video games, and that's it.
Gary, are the reports of zombies actually walking the street, are they accurate?
I have not seen any. I did run this morning, ran around a lake, and no zombies. By the way, I was looking for an app. I run through trails over there.
Okay.
And there's this one area of the trails that I kind of get confused on. So I was trying to find an app so that I could map it so that next time I went, it would say, make the turn here. In doing so, I found an app that makes you run like away from zombies or something like that.
Run, zombie, run.
You heard of it?
Yeah, it's been out for years. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
By the way, Gary, I have heard an effective way of marking your trail is breadcrumbs behind you.
Well, it's a circle run.
Okay.
Not a circle.
How do you get lost on a circle run?
Well, it's around, so it's a trail run. But there are certain intersections that will actually bring you out to a road that's by that area.
Okay.
Not a big deal if I go down the wrong way. I just turn around and come back. But,
All right.
I'd rather not.
Okay. Well, good to see you practicing self-quarantining, social distancing. I don't know. There's all kinds of jokes to be made. Actually, Gary, what I'm actually most pissed off about is you actually ruined, because we were fully planned. We were going to sack you on air. We were done. We were like, Gary, if he doesn't show, that's it. We're going to announce that we had to have cutbacks because of the virus. And so we were going to have to let Gary go. And then you showed up. What do you know? So much like the plague and the current virus situation, we didn't know we had you, but then we had you.
Last minute, Larry.
Yes. All right. Well, now let's talk about let's shift gears to something positive. Birthdays, yes. Tara Chin. It's so weird to say that, but in fact, she married the man. If you don't know, married Mike Chin, beloved former host of the podcast, rest his soul.
Cool.
And so she turned sweet 16. But by the way, Mike really robbed the cradle on this one.
It's awful. No wonder why he waited so long to get married.
Yeah. But she is a lovely individual, so we want to wish her a full and lovely happy birthday. Sorry it happened during the apocalypse.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then Chris Henwood, 82 today. Chris, please stay indoors. Be safe. We know you are, getting up there, and you're part of that risk factor, people. So, be safe, Chris. But happy birthday. So we will give you this lovely song.
Happy birthday to you.
That's not that. I don't want to build him up too much.
Yeah, exactly.
Mike Chin can do what he has
Boom.
to do. Yeah. So there we go. It's this.
Hooray, it's story time. Hooray, it's story time. I'm so glad to be with you today.
All right. So story time. We can talk a little story here. I'm going to lead things off because I was not supposed to be here today. Mm-hmm. I was going to be in the throes of packing a suitcase. Actually, technically.
Throes of passion?
Yeah, no, packing the suitcase. There's no passion anymore in this marriage. It's just.
Oh, fuck's sake.
That's what happens. No, it's all about the Costco these days. No, I was supposed to be finalizing packing. We actually had our suitcase packed a week in advance. And we were on our way to Hawaii tomorrow morning, first thing. Plans change. We finally gave in to the notion this was not going to be a good idea. We had been holding out hope, and then Hawaii started going into shutdown mode. And once we heard restaurants were getting shut down, we just said, you know what? This is no longer a vacation you want to be a part of.
Why would you go to Hawaii to look out the window of your hotel room, which was closed?
Right, right. Well, the hotel was telling us all the way up until we made the decision last Sunday that they were like, pools are open, restaurants are open. But then just like a day later, we got word all the restaurants and bars were officially getting shut down, takeout only. So we would have been able to get food, had to bring it back to our room. The pool still would have been technically open, but the jacuzzis, the spas, all of that stuff, all of the stuff you kind of want to do when you're on vacation, shut down. So we just said, you know what, screw it. And fortunately we did, because then I just learned just a few days ago that Hawaii now has instituted a policy of anyone flying into the state is going to be subject to a 14-day quarantine.
Oh, man.
Yeah, regardless if they're citizens of the state or tourists. So that really,
which is just right.
Yeah.
Man, are the airlines refunding or?
So that was the big thing. We thought we were going to get really screwed because, of course, we had gotten a great deal on a vacation package, and this is well before all this shit hit the fan. We had gotten a great deal, and so of course Southwest is good about. They will absolutely give you a full credit back on air, but it's a credit back on air to use later, which again is good. But if you can't get the same deal, then not so good. And of course, on the vacation side, they were giving a full refund again on the dollar amount. But again, if you can't find the good deal you had, you couldn't just reschedule it. But we were fortunate. We had looked at maybe rescheduling to June, and they told us that was going to be about $2,000 more, which that sucked. But then we contacted. We said, well, what about September? And so we pushed it all the way out to September, and it cost us basically, I think, about $100 more, all said and done. So not worried about that. And the weather technically will be warmer when we go this go round. So we're good with that.
And September
awesome,
seems
man.
to be like a safe enough bet at this stage.
I'd like to think so. I would like to, and hopefully yes, because if we're still in the
hope
throes
so.
of this in September, man, I'm already thinking I need to clean my gun at this point. So we're just starting to get into those weird,
Yeah,
those
it's
weird
time.
moments.
I got to get my license. It's very hard to get a gun in New York, but I got to do it. I've been talking about it for like 2 years.
Yeah, people are also. This is kind of one of the funny things, and I think it was RC Parkwood had posted this up on Twitter, but it's funny how suddenly. First time people going to buy guns are getting pissed off because they have to wait 10 days to get their background check.
Democrats are buying guns. This whole thing, this whole Wu Flu, it's like an 8-hour moving feast at the moment. Every 8 hours, it is completely taking a different level, different turn. I mean, Greg, you're talking about spas. So the lovely big hotel we were at,
yes,
just around the corner from me here.
Yeah,
and the spa
completely shut down.
Completely shut down for at least a month to 2 months. They're saying,
wow,
which is just phenomenal. So here now, all bars, restaurants, cafes, everything. The only thing that's open now are chemists, and you have to queue outside, 1 or 2 at a time inside. And
chemists are the equivalent to pharmacies over here, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Supermarkets or grocery stores. My clients who are having unbelievably busy time right now, but everything else is gone. And you're recommended to be in the one place, not to go out.
Robin's camera just disappeared on me.
I can hear him.
Oh,
I know. Yeah.
I'm not.
There he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we're good. Your camera just disappeared for a second. That's all.
Oh, it's still frozen here. I don't know if it'll appear or not. I don't know. Anyway, I'll carry on. I don't care. It is weird, and it's so strange because, as I said earlier on, it was such a beautiful day here, and everything else is so surreal. Like I wanted to go down and check the house, our other house in Belfast, because Joshua's been up home, and I wanted on Friday. I had a few things. I went to a client's site, and they went, "What are you doing here?" And then I drove on down into Belfast and checked the house, and I dropped around the corner to like a big shopping outlet because I wanted to pick up something for Mother's Day for the boys, because it's Mother's Day here today. Right. And I have to admit, I went into the shops cautiously, of course, keeping my distance from people, but I felt guilty about even being there. It's a very, very odd thing. I think there's been 2 deaths here in Northern Ireland, as in today. New York, Gary, seems to be a friggin' nightmare. There are more people infected and more deaths in New York than in the whole of the UK.
Yeah, New York's pretty bad. I just pulled it up on our local newspaper. So New York City and Long Island together, let's see. New York City's 9,000. Long Island is 3,000 infected. Crap. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Right.
We're pretty much in mostly, like you were saying, we've been shut down for a week. It's only essential businesses now. Movie theaters and gyms have been shut down for a while, stuff like that.
Yep.
It's just food stores. Restaurants are still operating, and I'm trying to support them when I can.
Right, but they're operating takeout only, correct?
Takeout only. You can, some of them you can go in. You just can't sit. Go in and get out.
Right.
So I know there's been some talk about New York possibly even getting more like Italy as far as, shutting it down, curfews and things like that. We'll see where we end up over the next week. But it's crazy here.
Do it.
I got my kids working in a food store, and it's nuts because I know they're going to probably get it and bring it home to us. But I'd rather them work than some poor 78-year-old lady trying to do checkout. So
well, there you go. I mean, like 2 or 3 years ago, when you grew up, you're so useless. You're going to end up stocking shelves. That's a nowhere job. Now all of a sudden it's one of the most important
It's a
dangerous
prime
jobs
job.
out there. So my niece had a Christmas job in a large supermarket here called Tesco's, and it was just for the Christmas period, and they're doing a massive recruitment drive at the moment, and she started back yesterday, and they're getting an extra 10% danger money for coming in as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's crazy horses, and all I can say is, look, just stay at home. The majority of us here right now are pretty healthy. We're
Right.
probably okay. Maybe not, but we're probably okay. But it really does seem to be the older generation. That's why Italy's having it so bad.
Right.
Well, they're saying, I guess, in New York, about half the cases in New York of confirmed coronavirus cases are actually 18 to 49. So that's a little known fact that nobody's really talking about. But again, I think that half, the 18 to 49, I would venture to say 90%, if not more, are not needing hospitalization unless they have some kind of pre-existing condition. And that's the killer of this virus. It's when you have something going on with your lungs. Men apparently, and this was, I guess, jumping around with some facts, but in China they noticed it was hitting men and being more deadly to men. And that was in large part because I think a lot of the men in China also were heavy smokers.
Yeah. Yep. I heard that.
So when you have lung issues, this virus attacks the lungs, so it causes complications. If you have issues, it could be a death sentence.
So what about those dickheads on? Would you have a thing called Spring Break?
You saw that?
I've been
Yeah.
watching some of the news of those assholes.
They shut down. My mom and father, they live in Florida, or my mom summers down there, but they've shut down the beaches. They've stopped that. I don't know if they're doing that in Cali too, but Florida, that was going on.
Yeah, I don't know if they've done it in Cali, to be perfectly honest. I don't live near the beaches per se, and I haven't really heard any issues out in California with the beaches. But, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense to shut them down, to prevent kids from doing that kind of thing.
Okay.
It's a nasty situation. By the way, Gary, I never thought for a moment we would ever get to be at a point where the movie Escape from New York actually started to make sense.
Right.
And we are on the cusp.
Snake. Oh dear. Okay, so
I'm hunkering in.
All right, one last thing, and I promise we'll move off the coronavirus topic. But I do not. So I understand that New York kind of took the lead in deaths, but you guys, and I say it's a horrible way of saying it, but you guys have had the most deaths out of any state in the United States. It's like 114, I think, last I saw. But let's be fair. You guys have 12,000 infected, something around there. So
Yeah. New York State is 15,000.
Right.
But the majority of it, like 13,000 of that, is Long Island and New York City.
Right. So
a lot of people here.
115, 114, and a very high number of infected. Okay, makes sense. Washington State. What the fuck is going on in Washington State? They have about 1,500 documented cases. 96 people have died in that state now from this thing. And so like that death rate in Washington State, I mean, you catch this thing up in Washington State, it's like you're as good as dead. And the governor of Washington State has not done a mandatory stay in shelter order. He said he's trying to fight that as much as possible. I'm like, why? It's just, people are like, I mean, that's at the rate of people are just like dropping in the streets practically. So I don't get it. I don't get it.
And so the next thing that has happened in the UK, I don't know how it's going to all get organised, and in the south of Ireland as well, very, very similar, that both governments have offered. In the south, it's 70%, and I'm thinking that in the UK, it's 80%. They will cover the wages of staff up to 80%. So that takes the pressure. I don't know how. Geez, can you imagine how much money we're talking about here, and how much form filling and stuff like that there? But companies like mine, where we're going, like we can probably last 2 months before we have to chop 3/4 of the staff.
Right.
That gives us a wee bit of breathing space. Say, like, because it's so surreal. Like, I mean, I'm in sales, and I work with a sales team, and I'm on the road. I go to the office very, very little, and I'm not allowed to go. One, I'm not allowed to go near the office now. I'm not allowed to go near my clients. I have probably 3 or 4 days worth of work to do here. Following up on some plans, some quotes, some other bits and pieces, chasing some money. And after that, it's such a surreal thing because, none of us are in the office. And so that takes some pressure off, that people can shut the businesses properly and sit at home for a while. But, these are 2020 is just a write-off. And, I'm just, there's no, I'm a Formula One fan. No Formula One this year, really, at all. Today, right now, there's virtual Formula One going on right now, a Bahrain Grand Prix, with a lot of Formula One drivers in it, in F1 2019, and there's commentators on it, and they're commentating.
Really?
Yeah, and they're commentating. Now there's also some personalities in there as well, but there's Lando Norris, Formula One driver. There's 6 or 7 Formula One drivers, and then retired Formula One drivers, just to keep it interesting, to keep the focus on it. So that's the sort of off the wall stuff that's going on there. And personally, all this talk about bulk buying, and we have bought more stuff. We have not lots more, but we have bought some extra cereal and a few extra cans and stuff. And I've been saying to Judith for months since January, let's slowly do this. But the weirdest thing and the most scary thing that I've done for me is I went and bought a generator for the house as well.
Right.
And I'm turning into a prepper, Gary. I really am.
Yeah. And we have a generator from, I don't know if you guys remember the Hurricane Sandy that hit here. God, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It wiped out. It put us off the map for a month or a week or two. I picked up a generator then. One of the nice things about this is hopefully the power stays intact.
Oh yeah.
Before this happened, we kind of would. I was talking to people. I'm like, it's like a hurricane. Like, especially for people who live on the East Coast that are kind of familiar with them. You know it's out there, it's coming, but you don't know if it's going to hit or not. How much do you prepare? How much do you don't prepare? If it hits, how bad is it going to be? I mean, that was me talking 2 weeks before this all hit. Now I am 2 weeks later, and it hit. But the good thing is we do have power, and knock on wood.
Oh yeah,
that should not go out.
Talk about that happening, but it just my mind starts to go, well.
Yeah.
If they, I'm old enough to remember in the early 70s when there was a strike on, and it was at 5 o'clock in the evening or 6 o'clock in the evening, the power was switched off until the next morning because there was a strike, and that went on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And so it's not completely unheard of. So I thought, well, I will also use this around the garden and stuff. But yeah, I find myself, I've a cupboard outside in one of the rooms here now with extra first aid kits, extra batteries. I bought some wind-up lamps, a wind-up radio, just in case. I will be more prepared than from before. I'm going, how can I purify water? Oh.
I think if you pee in it, it purifies it. Oh no, that's for jellyfish things. I'm sorry.
Possibly not. Yeah.
So you had Hawaii cancelled. My sons, they've had their trips to. Yeah, we were sent into a concentration camp for Christmas. Auschwitz is gone. They were supposed to go in there at the beginning of the month. They're going to Poland, and that's all away now. And we were Judith and I were going to Paris at the end of April. The flights haven't been cancelled yet. I don't have a hotel booked, but I'm quite sure that's gone. And we were for fostering, Gary. Judith and I were invited over to meet the Queen in May.
Get that F out of here.
Yeah, and that we got a letter from the palace in through the week to say, look, we're not going to do this. This garden party is not going to happen, but we will bring you back next year.
I think when you go back, though, you should just cough in her face.
And tell her you want Paul there. Make sure McCartney is there.
So, yeah, look, it's crazy. I hope, and people we mentioned last week, if you're frightened and you're scared and you don't have someone to talk to, if you're trapped at home, if you're a normal nerd, and this makes you even nerdier nerd, reach out to us, guys, and girls, because we're here. We understand. I have a big family and people like Greg as well who would be susceptible to this horrible thing, and we are a bit worried about that, and we're being very cautious and concerned.
Asshole.
Yeah, and Greg has Cindy. I have Judith.
Hey, look, we did the responsible thing in terms of preparing. We contacted our wineries. We arranged free shipping.
I did order extra wine. Yes, I did do that. Yes, I went on the line as well. I'm waiting for that to come because the alcohol's getting low, and I don't want to go to the shop. In fact, that's why I ordered the wine online, because I didn't want to go to the shop. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
I've been drinking a lot more this week.
On Facebook, Greg, Cindy had posted up about don't touch petrol pumps, the handles, because you use gloves because people are not washing their hands. And
I never ever. Well, when I pump gas, I always have a hand sanitizer in my car for after I pump gas. I mean, I've always kind of been a little bit germaphobe, so a lot of the stuff they're telling people to practice, I've already done.
Yeah, I never practiced that, for the record. I just would go, I'd lick my hand afterwards. I could care less.
I gotta say, my hands are so fucking dry, and I think, did I not wash my hands enough? I think I'm just overdoing it now. But my hands are
you
so
probably
dry.
are. Yeah. But hey, better safe than sorry.
Sorry. So what I was saying is, Cindy had put that up on her Facebook group, and I said, yeah, it's great, right. Cindy. Greg had mentioned it. I had a perfect solution because I didn't use gloves. I used condoms on my hands because we didn't. I seemed to be a surplus of them lying around this house, and I just the last time was look after those boys, will you, Cindy, please? And she replied back to say, yeah.
There's no.
Yeah, they're on their own.
Right. So fun fact about, by the way, the gas stations or petrol stations, however you want to refer to it. Costco out here, a lot of the Costcos out here have gas stations associated with them. I don't know if that's the same in the UK or not. But one thing we did, or at least I noticed yesterday when I did fill up at a Costco, the attendant was going around every time you used the pump. He was actually wiping it down with a wipe.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You would have think that petrol...
For a moment, I thought about just grabbing the wipes from him and running.
You would think that sort of petrol would be a natural cleanser. It would kill germs and bugs because, I don't know.
Well, hopefully it's not on the handle.
I was going to say, I don't know about you in the UK, but here in the US, we put the gas in the car.
Yeah,
not on your
hands.
Not
on your hands.
Yeah, I know, but you always get a smell or whatever. You do get some petrolly smell of it.
You got to shake it, Robin. You got to shake it. This way you don't get splashed.
Yeah. Any more than 3 shakes is considered. Okay. Okay, so what have I been? That's it. That's that. I see something there. You've just reminded me, Gary, in your notes. Westworld season 3.
Yeah.
And it surprised me because I went, oh fuck, Jesus, there it is. And I watched the first episode. Did you watch?
I watched the first episode of this season. Yeah.
Greg?
Greg, did you see it yet?
No, I have not.
You saw season 2, right?
I did. But what I've decided to start doing, especially with like HBO, because I don't subscribe to HBO normally, so I'm gonna wait for the season to be done, and then I'll punch the ticket and I'll watch it for whatever. So yeah.
So no, I mean, without giving spoilers, you saw it, right, Robin?
Yeah.
They just, they're going into the world that is outside of the park, and it's in the future. It was a really nicely done kind of reboot, I thought, with characters that you care about or that a little bit. I'm really excited.
I was very different. No cowboys.
Season 2 was just. I think they got too smart.
Yeah.
And I just it was way too much thinking, and there were some moments in that season 2 that were phenomenal, but just too much of what's going on. And
I think
to me,
in the first
season 1 was good.
Yeah,
season 1 I love.
The writing was so clever and it all intertwined, and then at the end of it, it all came together, and wow. And season 2 it was maybe trying to replicate that, and it was a bit too smart for its own good. But it was still good. But this here is very different.
I agree.
Sort of, it's like, I'm going flashing back now. Like iRobot. It's the world is.
That's what I heard.
It's that sort of age, that sort of sci-fi time period. It feels like not completely spaceships, but.
And I never watched iRobot, but I heard season 2 was a down, and then season 3 they rebounded to become really good. So hopefully Westworld is following along that way.
Yeah, hopefully. By the way, a big shout out. We have a YouTube watcher right now, Lord, I believe it is. Cheers
Little
to
Lord.
you. Hello.
Oh Lord.
Little Lord.
Yeah. Oh Lord. Yeah. Little Lord, maybe.
Little Lord.
By the way,
Anyways.
on TV shows, if you guys are looking for other TV shows, I never watched Curb Your Enthusiasm.
It's a good show.
It is it's my kind of humor. I don't know why I never
Yeah,
watched it. I'm watching
right.
this season now, but I'm going to go back and watch them now. But I needed something kind of funny,
Right.
not too much thought. Just sit down and watch a 40-minute show. He's hysterical.
Yeah.
Very good.
I have continued, so it's just talking television shows. I have continued watching War of the Worlds. So it's still really good. Very much enjoying it. So if you have not seen this, it's basically, the Orson Welles take on War of the Worlds, but not in the U.S. It's based in the UK and it's based in France. Those are kind of the two locations so far. So it has a much more world feel to it.
Can we have a fact check here? Orson Welles, Horsel Common was in England. The original War of the Worlds was in England.
Well, okay, but the original radio show was not. So fuck off.
Wasn't it a book or
A book.
was it?
Originally a book.
Yeah.
And then they read
did
the
live
thing on the radio.
broadcast. Yeah,
Right,
as
okay.
though it was being broadcast from New York.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there you go. War of the Worlds. It's good. I also just saw a trailer for. I don't know if you guys remember the movie Snowpiercer. Didn't set the world on fire, but it was in a sense. It was supposed to be. I think they were hoping it was going to be a big hit. It was about a train, in a sense, kind of the apocalypse. The world has basically turned into a frozen tundra. They're turning it into a television series. Looks like it could be interesting. We'll see. So, all right. Anything else we want to talk about
I want to
before
talk about
we?
Gary's hair and how he did it to himself.
Dude,
Did you? Is that a self cut?
Yes.
God, it looks like it.
Come on, it's not terrible.
So what did you
So-
do? You put a ski on and you just went yourself, yeah? Or
So
what?
when the kids were younger, the boys, when they were babies, or mostly the older guy, he used to cry when we went to the barber, and I just didn't want to deal with that. So I bought a good razor,
Wild
head
clipper,
shape
yeah.
unit with all the clippings and all that. And today I was like, my hair is getting really long. I'm like, I gotta do this myself, I think. So I pulled that crap out, and I did a 7, and then I did a 4 on the sides and the back, and then I did a 2
Wow.
on the 2 on the bottom,
Does
just
your
real
wife-
low, and tried to blend it the best I could. It's not great, but it's okay.
Does your wife not like you that much that she wouldn't have done that for you?
She watched me. She's like, "Don't go too far."
Now that you
Can you
say
do
it,
something about that?
I'm just looking at the top bit is fine. I don't know if my camera's on or not.
Over here,
Well, what it
But
is,
it's
what's
the blend
thrown off?
bit. It's just there's
I had some troubles on the sides up
Yeah.
here and the back because you can't see it well.
Well, it doesn't look terribly bad, Gary.
No.
I will give you props for a self haircut. Not
Yeah.
bad. My wife probably would disagree. She probably would look at it and be like, no. But not bad. But I think what's throwing me off also is your blurred background.
Oh,
Every once in a while, it's blurring part of your head. And so it throws off things a little bit. Anyway,
I can unblur
well
too,
done,
just to
though.
make you
Well
feel
done,
better.
Gary. Self haircut. These are the things we have to contemplate as we face the apocalypse.
subby.
Actually, I might start cutting hair in the neighborhood for toilet paper rolls. We'll see.
Goodness.
That's a great idea.
Great idea. I love that idea. You should do that, boy.
I'm gonna whore my wife out. She can cut hair.
Oh, yeah.
She does a good job cutting hair. We could make a living with toilet paper rolls.
There you go.
I know how I'm going to make a living. So
Uh-oh.
just by pure boredom, I ordered a lock picking kit.
Jesus.
Robin,
Did that come with the
professional
cow
thief.
shirt?
Well, I read the review on Amazon and it said, "Do not buy this kit." When I got this kit, I read the instruction manual, and within about half an hour, I could open the sample clear lock that they sent me, and then I was practicing on all the locks around the house and on the garden shed. And now I'm just on remand, waiting for the court case. So, but I've always
You're like
found-
in Dying Light. The zombies are everywhere, and you're putting the pick in the lock, and you're trying to get in there.
So they've sent me
So
this, sent me this king, and it comes with a clear lock, so you can see all the tumblers. It comes with
Right.
a whole set of the little keys. It just arrived there tonight, And it also came with a credit card. It says credit card.
A ski mask?
And
what about the
inside
ski
credit
mask?
card, there are 4 more tools that you can sort of carry this little credit card in your wallet. Like
Nothing
Bond.
suspicious about that.
Yeah, James Bond job. So I'm going to see if I can manage to learn how to pick a lock. I think that could be a useful thing or fun thing to do. Fun thing.
It actually is a shame that it did not come with like a full face mask, ski mask.
Yeah.
Because that would have cemented the whole notion
people,
of
wouldn't it?
Yeah. No, it would have protected your identity. Anyway. All right. Let's move forward. Let's talk about.
By the way, sorry, one last thing, Gary. Lovely to have you on the show.
No, thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Nothing but lies.
You had nowhere. You have nowhere to fucking run to this week. Let me tell you.
I do know. Oh wait, that's the only saving grace of this is all the sports. Everything is stopped. Like I can actually do things like this or yard work, all that. Anyway, go ahead, Greg.
Actually, it's not a saving grace. It's actually I think what's piling on to the whole doom and gloom feel. Men are being forced to talk to their wives. we're being given things to do at the house, and we have no excuse. There's no, hey, well, the match is on. I got to watch the game.
You know, I saw those things on Facebook. It said, no sports on. There was some lady sitting on my couch. I found out she's my wife. You know, I've seen stuff like that. She seems pretty nice.
Yeah. I just heard, she got fired from Sears.
So speaking of sports though, and this actually will be we'll wrap on this and we'll move forward.
Okay.
But I was flipping around the channels and all we've been seeing on all of our sports channels of late is just reruns of everything, right?
Yeah.
Well, on ESPN today, I came across Stupid Robot League.
Ooh.
And so of course I'm like, what's this? So it's a fighting league. And I thought it was going to be like the robot fighting league where they have the robots in the arena, that kind of thing. No. This was literally 2 guys on either side of one another in kind of like, when you're at the gym, you see those big cages for the weights, for the weight racks. So it looks like something like that. But in the middle, hanging up from, like ropes, that kind of thing, are 2 like marionette fighting bots. And the guys are seated on like a stool or something. I didn't pay that much attention to what they were sitting on, but their feet are attached with basically like poles to the bottom of the feet of the robots, and then the hands are attached to the hands of the robots, and they're fighting.
Rock'em sock'em.
It's like Rock'em Sock'em, but it's worse. And ESPN is covering this as like it's a serious thing, and I'm just like.
Can they bring back maybe like Battle of the Network Stars? I'd rather watch that.
Well, what I'm really surprised is that they haven't leaned heavily into video games. Forza,
Yeah. That's what I mean.
NBA Live.
The biggest motorsport in the world has, virtual. It's F1 2019. Codemasters must be fucking loving it.
Dude, I love that. I gotta look that up right after this.
Yeah, so it's on.
You found it, by the way.
It's on right now.
Stupid Robot League.
Yeah, it's on right now. And after the show, I'm going to be watching the race. So,
Anyway, so that wraps it up. Let's move forward. You're cute, Robin. Games.
Oh shit, that's right. Gaming things. Yeah. Oh, that's a weird
thing,
isn't it?
Thank you, Captain.
Today I feel like playing computer games. Today I feel like playing computer games.
All right. Well, since we don't have Kim this week, but we do have Gary. But I don't know, Gary, are you in? You are in the notes, and Gary, you are going to play the role of Kim this week. So let's talk about the games that are available to us on these numerous services.
Oh, let me pull back up there. Monthly freebies. You want me to go through the March, or
I would love to hear that, please.
All right, games with gold in March. Batman, the
just
enemy
the ones
within.
that are relevant.
All right, so we'll just skip all those. I guess people care about Castlevania, right? Lords of the Shadows 2, March 1st. Actually, that's not relevant because it's past.
That's what I was getting at.
Shantae, Half Genie Hero. Ooh, that sounds good. Robin's video's gone. That's available March 16th to April 15th on the Xbone. Sonic Generations. Boy, you don't want to miss that one. Available March 16th to the 31st on Xbone and 360. And like I said, Batman, the Enemy Within. The complete season is available March 1st to 31st on the Xbone. PlayStation Plus for March, Shadow of the Colossus and Sonic Forces. Boy, Sonic's just racking it up. Oh, yep. There's the door opening.
Oh, my head.
Yes.
And my
There's
neck.
Braxton.
I worked all day.
All right, quiet. Twitch Prime Games. Fury? Never heard of it. Epistory Typing Chronicles? Never heard of it. Whispers of a Machine. Mugsters and Bomber Crew. Those are classics. Thank you, Twitch. And Stadia Pro, is that still in business, Robin?
I'll be talking about that in a minute. Yes, it is.
We got Grid, SteamWorld Dig 2, and SteamWorld Quest.
All right. Well, there you go.
Braxton is gone. Braxton made a quick appearance there, just as I was speaking, of course.
Okay, well, I'm going to go. I was just going to follow on from what Gary said. Sorry, Greg.
Yes.
I did fire up my Stadia this week.
Yes.
And I played Grid.
And?
God almighty, maybe my internet connection's just not good enough for it, but it was friggin' pathetic. It was stutter. I could play it, and then round the corner in a crucial bit, stutter in the back of someone. Stutter.
Wow.
Ugh.
Yeah, so no, I persevered with it for about 10 minutes and thought, no, this will settle down, and no, it didn't.
Now, let me ask you a more important question.
Yeesh.
Are you still subscribed?
Yes, the payment came out yesterday. Dickhead.
Okay.
Or day before yesterday. But, fuck it, that's another thing I didn't do. Yeah. And my internet is much better now. Again, even after today, I meant to say I did a crazy stupid thing. I needed a roof ladder to get my 4G aerial up onto the chimney pot. And I couldn't work it out, so I ended up throwing a rope over the top of the roof, tying it to the Jeep, and putting a normal ladder along the roof, and tying the rope to it, and then climbing up on another ladder, and it was very friggin' scary. I don't do.
I feel like this is
things you shouldn't do in the apocalypse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It was like Judas going, "If you fall and kill yourself, I will haunt you forever. You leave me with all these kids. If you fall,
I don't know if it's
you
like
even get disabled. You're for it. I'll never let you live."
You go to the hospital here, you can't have visitors, so you're all on your own, buddy.
Yeah.
At least here.
I have to say that putting in that 4G area, when I had to put my hands up onto the pole and tie this thing on, and then put the cable up through the tile, for about 2 hours after this, my legs were like jelly. And even thinking about it now, I don't do heights. This was precarious. It was unsafe. It was stupid. But I didn't want to go and buy a roof ladder. So anyway. So yeah, so even with my new and improved internet right now, nah. I don't know where the Stadia thing's going to go at all. It's slick. It works well. Yes, the user interface is so simple. It's too simple. But I just don't think the infrastructure is there for the volume sales that they need to make.
Yeah.
For that to be a success. So
I would kill. I'm not literally, but figuratively, to learn what their sales figures have looked like over the past few months. How many new subscribers are they actually getting? Like, so legitimate subscribers, not somebody that signed up curiously. Who's actually still paying?
I'd say you're probably talking about a couple of hundred a day, not a couple of thousands. I'd say it'll be probably as frightening as a couple of hundred a day.
Yeah.
So that wasn't good. That wasn't good. Yeah. So carry on then with what real games and real console stuff. Yeah.
Well, let's shift gears. We'll do what you. I liked Robin, by the way. They do it every other person kind of thing, So Gary, let's talk about Escape from Tarkov, because let's face it, Escape from New York, Escape from Tarkov. These are eerily on point for what we're going through.
This is not a game that I should like because it is brutal. You're gonna die. You're gonna die a lot. Do you guys? You know the premise of it?
I think I know it's kind of like Rust, if I'm not mistaken.
So it's got a lot of different elements. My stepbrother says it definitely has a Rust feel because I got him playing it. Mm-hmm. Actually, I had Fraser watch me the other day. I think he's very close to buying it as well. I was streaming it on Discord for him so he could see it. It's kind of a mix of PUBG, Rust. So basically, you get thrown into a map. And you have various times to get out. And when you get out, whatever you get out with, you get to keep, if you can get out. If you kill other people, you can loot them, take that out, and you can keep upgrading your character by doing that. And now I'm playing it a little bit longer. At first, it was me just going in, looting, and getting stuff and getting out if I could.
Get out of Dodge. Okay.
Now there's actually quests and stuff you can follow, which kind of give you something to do. So, you got to get a key and then try to get into this room and stuff like that.
There was a game like this that released into Xbox Preview not too long ago, or at least it was sounding like it. And I'm escaping, but it was like you were on a little island, and it had kind of that same vibe of like if you were looting stuff and then you had to make it to your house. And you would make it to your house, and then you would be able to keep your stuff. But if you got killed along the way,
you'd lose everything.
You'd lose everything. But it was strictly PvP. There was no environmental dangers in the game. It was all just other player based. But
they have computer players in the game that can kill you.
Okay.
But the way it works out. They set up a match. And PMC is your character. I think it's like usually between 6 to 10 PMCs get dropped into the map. Okay. And then there's computer scavs, they call them, that are there. And then about halfway through the game, player scavs drop in with full loot, and they can hunt you as well.
Okay.
And everybody's trying to escape at that point, players and PMCs and scavs. There are no guides. Like there's no map. PUBG, you can pull up a map and see where you got to go. Right. You got to have another monitor up, or like in the computer, you alt tab out to go see a map that you pulled up. It's raw. It's okay. You're out there, and it's like very realistic with shots. There's no bullet sponges, and 2 shots, maybe 1 shot, you can be done.
All right.
So it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it.
It looks good here. I'm watching it now. It looks good.
All right.
It looks great.
It's not a battle royale situation of like just only one person can leave the map. Correct. It's if you get to the exit, you get to the exit.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, it's fun. You want me to go through what else I'm playing?
Well, why don't we do this? I'll talk about me, and then we'll go to Robin, and we'll come back to you. Although actually you have quite the list, so let's cover a couple games that you're not really going to talk about in depth. How's that?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I'm not going to talk about.
Doom Eternal.
I won't talk about Red Dead Redemption 2 in depth. I finally started playing it on the PC. I did get a new video card. Okay. It looks amazing. I got through the first chapter. I actually really didn't like the first chapter because it's so tutorial heavy, and you really weren't doing anything. And I was so worried after doing that. But then I started the second one up, and it looks like it's going pretty good. So did that. Division 2 was like $3 on the PC, so I picked that up. I've been playing that here and there. I played Doom Eternal, the new release, the other morning when it came out. So I played about an hour of it. I will tell you, if you have headphones, use them because the sound was so good. The voice, everything, the music. It's Doom. It's great. I had a ball playing it. It was only an hour. It was one morning before work, I think. Now that instead of driving, I might play a computer game. So I played it the day of release. It's good. It's good. It's Doom. It's the same thing, same concept, but God, it looks good. It runs great. And like I said, the sound is just great.
A lot of heavy metal again. Very fast gameplay.
Yeah.
I mean, even watching this stream right now.
Yeah.
It did look good before, but it looks even more gorgeous in this.
Yeah, I can't say I have a lot of questions about Doom Eternal because it feels very much Doom? Like Doom the first time around. But I did hear, and it was like right before podcasting today, that they've actually added a bunch of like platforming bits to it. Have you experienced that yet?
I've only kind of gotten through the first few checkpoints.
Okay.
I don't think I even got out of the first level yet.
There was a couple of levels in the first one. I remember one that you had to sort of jump round the outside of this big place. It was like it was the weird first-person platforming.
Well, first-person platforming never really works well in my. I've never really enjoyed it. There's, I think, a few exceptions would be the way Titanfall 2 handled it, which is it was a first-person game, but when you went into the platforming bits, it took you out to third-person.
Good.
You know what? I guess they might have, now I'm thinking about it. There was one section where I had to jump, grab a pole, and then jump, or I had to jump onto a wall and climb up it.
Okay.
And it usually was more of just, it wasn't like a large platforming section. It was really kind of setting you up to get to the next, next room
box,
or whatever. Yeah. I'm not watching the stream, but I could see the red lights flashing on Robin's face.
Yeah. It looks pretty awesome.
The glory kills are great. By the way, the Joe. I've been listening to a lot of Joe Rogan's podcasts. I used to listen to him when he first started, 10 years ago, and I stopped. And I recently started picking it up, and I actually love his podcasts. I love I've listened to all the UFO ones and stuff. But this week he had on Hugo, whatever his last name is, from id.
Okay.
And they talked about Doom, and it was really cool to hear them talk about the game designs and stuff like that. So if you're looking for a little Rogan video game talk, that's a good one to check out.
There's a very, very good no clip. There's No Clip Studios on YouTube about this here and the sort of the whole history of Doom and this new game. So that's they do some very interesting documentary things. So
I think I remember that.
Yeah, No Clip.
I have to check that out. No Clip. Mm-hmm. Another thing, I'm writing it down. So many stuff to things today, and I'll just mention real quick. I played, with the Apocalypse here. A nice family game to play is the Jackbox game. So I had picked up one of the box sets not long ago. I played with the kids and my wife and stuff. This week, though, I got an email. I think it's for about a week. Drawful 2 is free.
Okay.
If you want to pick that up. And that's a really fun game to play with the family. There's some means you could probably stream on YouTube with friends that are remote.
Yeah, because you do it on your phone. I have some of these, and you do on your get all of the kids on their mobiles, and that's how they connect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's good fun and sort of rude as
we had a blast last night playing it. So yeah, it's a fun thing to do. You got puzzles, books to read, and there's a good family video game you can play.
I see the people on the stream that now they're playing it. One is called Gay Black Star. One is called Lolly Girl 5-year-old. One is called Donald Trump. One's, Thanks Obama. So yeah, I'm not sure this is. Yeah, those things are fun, and when you're sitting around, because over the next while, especially us. Geez, I don't know about your kids, Gary, but we now will have to start educating homeschooling. And Judith's very, very good at this sort of thing, but it's entertaining kids that they can't go and see their nephews and friends and bits and pieces, and a wee bit of light relief for some of this sort of thing is good too. Oh, my camera's going.
No doubt. Oh, it's great too. Everybody, I don't know if you guys know, my oldest son now is a senior in high school, and the other guy's a junior. So, they're getting old, but they'll play. And my 13-year-old daughter and my wife and I, it's nice. It kind of spans the generations. These things.
Yeah, good fun. Good fun.
Indeed. All right. Let's shift gears to me. So Batman the Animated Within. Continuing to play through this. This is a really, really good Batman game. I've been enjoying it thoroughly. What's nice is these aren't terribly long games. I started playing this, I want to say, probably about 3 days ago I started playing it, but I just haven't had a ton of time to game, to be perfectly honest.
It's weird.
Family being home.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's just things start getting impacted in terms of time-wise. And needless to say, though, Batman the Animated Within, if you haven't played it, it's one of the free games this month for Games with Gold, but it runs really well for this generation of boxes, or at least on the Xbox One X. I've not had any issues with in terms of performance. So, and again, it's just a really good story. It's a fun, just Batman experience.
I said before I played this, but I think I've maybe only played a few chapters, or maybe the first season. I can't. This is season 2, so maybe.
Yeah, so this is season 2. It's following up. The Riddler plays kind of the key role. The Joker also in this. It's also a fun twist on the relationship between Batman and all of these other characters. And you also feel like you have a little more control of his relationship with a couple of these characters that I never expected to have potential options in terms of which direction I could take those relationships. So I don't want to spoil anything for those that haven't played it. I know it's an older game, but it's one of those games that I feel like if you haven't played it before, go in, experience it. These are just good stories just to get kind of engrossed in. They're not going to take up a ton of time to get through them. I'd say if you play pretty dedicated to it, you can knock one of these games out probably in 2 days if you're really just going full bore on it. But yeah, just a good recommendation.
Good,
for sure.
Good. Go for it. Okay, I've been playing something new.
And it's free.
Yeah,
free with service. I have been playing one of my favorite games of all time, actually. The sequel to it, and it's Ori and the Will of the Wisps. And the first one was absolutely beautiful. It sounded fantastic with a fantastic score that I believe won awards even for the score that plays along with you. Super tight platformer in beautiful surroundings of this forest. If you can see on the stream, this beautiful little character. Now, I'm told I've put about maybe 6 hours in now, even with this crazy week. And it's as tight as the first one. The sound is good. In fact, it looks better than before. And it's just lovely to be back in that world again. And,
no, I haven't had a chance to play it, Robin, but my understanding is they've added a lot more combat into... Okay.
Yeah, so I've got a sword to whip people with, and then there's different... so far, it's a sword, and I can shoot arrows with it now, and do different things and arrows not only as a weapon, but to press buttons to release platforms or doors and switches, stuff like that there. But it's still rock hard. It's still Metrovania style, where there will be areas which you will go back, later on when you've got some more powers and bits and pieces.
Do they have difficulty settings, or is it just kind of one setting?
There's 3. No, there's 3. Okay. There's just play the story.
Normal,
right. And fuck off. So I'm playing on normal mode. The world is big again as before. Just if you haven't played the first one, it's free on Game Pass as well. This is also free.
Yeah.
This is free on Game Pass. Game Pass, the unbelievable service that just keeps on giving.
Is it on Game Pass for PC too?
Yeah.
I know the old. I never played the first one, and I'm not a big platformer, but it looks so good.
Yeah.
I think I should give it a whirly bird.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at the stream. I pulled that up on my phone. It looks brilliant, and the first one looked good. I'm pulling it up right now. Hopefully, it doesn't.
It's just such a colorful and vibrant game. I have it downloaded. It's on my to-do list. When I stop getting actual to-do lists.
I should play the Blind Forest first, though, right?
I don't think you need to, but
don't really need to. You don't need to.
Yeah.
It's, the story is nonsensical. You're it's fucking liberals saving the fucking planet, shit, all that, and it's more of the same, but the story continues. So it doesn't really matter. The first one is absolutely excellent. It really, really is good, but you're okay to it's a character, a little rabbity sort of foxy sort of thing, and that hasn't changed, and you jump around and help your friends from the forest to get rid of the evil.
Throwing it in
to help the tree grow better, and to help your woman from Norway not moan anymore. So Greta is very, very happy with this game. How dare you?
For what it's worth, by the way, the Game Pass is fantastic.
Yeah. It's a fantastic thing.
Especially for PC people, because
well,
I really don't play on the Xbox anymore. But
because
I think it's fantastic across the board, to be perfectly honest. I mean,
my stepbrother just rebuilt. My stepbrother had cancer, and stopped gaming for a while. Just came back. He's playing. He just rebuilt a new gaming PC, and I was telling him that he should play Rage 2, and he's like, "Well, how much is it?" I'm like, "It's free. Get Game Pass." He's like, "What?"
Right.
Went in. He played, and he's a huge Halo fan, so he's playing the Halo stuff now.
Yeah. On PC.
Yeah. The Master Chief Collection's on
Which
PC.
Is
so
probably Game Pass. If you had 10 games plus the Halo Master Chief Collection, that would still be a good deal. But this just continues to give and give and give. And I think PC users sort of sneered at this at the beginning. There's not going to be anything in this.
Well,
but now,
and In fairness, I think, Microsoft's attempts at the PC market prior to this had failed pretty hard.
They made a couple of mistakes.
Yeah.
But they are smart and resilient, and they fix stuff that they screw up. I mean, if you remember Kinect.
Oh, yeah.
So,
we don't talk about that anymore.
Very, very shortly, actually, that sort of stuff.
Yes. Yeah, we'll dive into some newsy bits. In fact, I think we can just dive into it now, Robin.
Okay.
Here is the fucking news.
Is that still FUMU?
No, I think that is an actual UK show of some kind, if I'm not mistaken, Robin. Do you know who does that audio?
No.
Okay. Mark found it someplace. Anyway. All right. So, this past week, outside of the craziness of coronavirus, GDC was supposed to be happening. And so with that, they had canceled GDC. Microsoft had made announcements that they were going to kind of continue forward with some of their GDC conferences via stream. But not a lot was really known. We knew they were going to be talking about some of the Xbox stuff here and there. But last Monday, just out of the ether, once again, Microsoft just drops some like random Xbox Wire article and basically unveiled the full specs of the Xbox Series X, and then would follow it up by the revelation that Digital Foundry and actually a few other outlets had been invited up to Microsoft. They've actually had time with the console. They let them go hands-on with it. There's actual videos out there, if you haven't seen it, of them actually piecing together all the components of the Series X and showing how it fits into the case. But the important things, obviously...
Sorry. Every McDonald's in the UK is closing.
Food is essential.
Are they closing?
What are they doing?
Are they closing inside, or are they just closing... Because here, they've all shut down inside. And so drive-thrus are still open.
From 7 p.m. tomorrow evening, they're gone.
Mm-hmm. We're in
the
end of the world.
Right here.
The end of the world is happening. I know.
Oh, fuck me. Wow.
All right.
Jesus.
It's big news.
It's okay. It's okay. So Xbox Series X specs got released, the full specs.
Yeah.
So now we know everything. So here we go. This is going to be very text heavy. Apologies. I don't know, Robin, if you can capture this and put it up on screen or not from our notes, but so Xbox Series X, it's just an image. It's do what you need to do. Here we go. It is an 8-core processor, Zen 2 CPU. It's at 3.8 gigahertz, although it does have a variable suit, so it can go as low as 3.66 gigahertz, but fairly consistent there. On the graphics side, it is confirmed to be a 12.155 teraflop machine, 52 compute units within it at 1825 gigahertz, and again using RDNA 2, which we knew. Most of this was new. Again, there's a lot of technical jargon here. It's a 7 nanometer enhanced process for creating the
give me the
chips.
fucking Xbox, will you?
The memory, 16 gigabits of GDDR6. This was interesting, actually, because it's split up. So we have 10 gigabits at 560 gigabits a second, 6 gigabits at 336 gigabits a second, and 3.5 gigabits of that lesser 336 gigabit per second memory is dedicated to the operating system. It is using a 1 terabyte custom NVMe solution for its SSD. It also is using is using that expansion card for NVMe SSD. They basically have gone into a partnership with Seagate. So Seagate is basically creating the expandable storage for the Xbox. Think of it as memory cards. They right now have only verified or confirmed it'll be 1 terabytes in terms of these card sizes. I have to think, though, at some point it'll be bigger. But also Seagate is the only one producing them right now, so there's a lot of concern. People are like, okay, are these going to be expensive? We already know NVMe drives are expensive. how expensive are these going to get? The other tidbit we learned from this is that the NVMe speeds, so it's I/O throughput speed, so it's 2.4 gigabits raw, which is incredibly fast, and then 4.8 gigabits using compression techniques through hardware decompression. So it can kind of boost it, if you will, to make the SSD even faster. And so that, in a nutshell, is the Xbox Series X in terms of the spec sheets.
So you're saying there's no Kinect?
There is no Kinect. There is no Kinect.
Okay.
There's no also no HDMI input. There's no TV. So learning apparently.
Okay. Well, that won't affect me as much now, but that would have. So there was a lot of crap about the USB connection for the drives, but it's the same. So it is the same as it is now, but there's a faster variant of these drives coming. That's what you're saying is there's only one manufacturer making those at the moment.
So how the Xbox Series works, the Series X, or we'll just call it the X. How the X works, you insert your drive into. No, I was kidding.
What podcast is this?
Yeah, exactly. No, okay. So you have your internal drive. Though the internal drive can run any game on it, whether it be a Series X game, an Xbox 360 game, an Xbox One game. It's pretty much universal across the board. However, only Xbox Series X games can run on that internal drive. So if you have a connected USB storage drive, maybe you've got a 5 gig that you're using right now, like I do. You can take that 5 gig and connect it up to the Series X and have all those games loaded onto it. But the Series X won't run any Series X games from a USB hard drive. If you have an Xbox One game or an Xbox 360 game, it will run it from the USB hard drive. But in order for a Series X game to be run, it has to be run off of one of the newer, faster NVMe drives. So that is how I understand it. So you can still have all your old games come with you, connect them up, and run them. They won't get all of the advantages of the new super fast drive unless you transfer them over to the new drive. Okay. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Clear as mud. Okay.
Hey, okay, sorry. I know you said lots of words, okay?
I did say lots of words.
But I like
to put Richard Webster to sleep.
The picture of the fridge and the
right.
Xbox. See, that makes sense to me. All that stuff there this is fucking awesome. But I don't really want to know this stuff. I really don't. I just want to know, will it have good games?
I think the big thing, and this is going to also get conveyed in the next story we talk about, is the solid state storage devices that they're using are really pretty much they are going to make loading and being able to have multiple save states a thing that actually works effectively on the consoles, whereas they really haven't been in this generation. So speed and the ability to do things more efficiently and fast is really, I think, what the consoles are going to be bringing to the table. The Series X has been, in terms of performance, graphical performance, that kind of thing, people are saying it's about equivalent to a 2080 Ti Super card. That might make sense to Gary. If you're a PC Master Race. Yeah, so that's the equivalent of what the GPU in the Series X is going to deliver.
That's the GPU I have. It is ass kick.
Yeah. So these consoles are going to give you great games, and the same is going to hold true for the PS5. We're going to talk about that in a moment. So all this does is it confirms to everybody these machines are beefy. They are, I think, for the first time we're seeing a nice generational leap. You know, the Xbox One and the PS4 compared to the PS3 and the 360 didn't feel like a huge leap because we were already starting to get into 1080p HD, that kind of thing. So, on the previous console. So I don't think we felt like a generational leap forward with the new consoles. The mid-gen refreshes compared to the old consoles, sure, but not when they first came out. This time, I think you're going to feel, if you buy one of these new machines, it's going to be a very eye-opening experience compared to what you've had now. And they've had some comparison videos up there. They showed, I think, like State of Decay they showed it loading up on the Series X compared to the Xbox One X. And on the Series X, it loaded up, I think, in 8 seconds from like start to like you're out in the world playing in the game. It was like 8 seconds. For the Xbox One X, it took like a full like 45 seconds, I want to say, before it loaded up. So that's the kind of performance increase these drives are going to give. And I think you're going to see even better performance in terms of that from the PlayStation 5, and we'll talk about that now.
Okay,
so
please do, yes, because I know you love your stats, but Jesus Christ,
specs can be fun. You dive into it. Okay, so
what are the main differences between then?
That's a good idea.
We're not going to get there quite yet.
Holy mackerel!
So Sony,
sorry, Scott,
out of the blue, came forward and said, "Hey, we are going to have a PlayStation reveal event, PlayStation 5 reveal event tomorrow." It was Wednesday. They made the announcement, so everybody tuned in to the PlayStation 5 reveal event. Turns out this was really a GDC event. This is what they had planned for GDC before. Everything kind of went sideways. So their reveal event went over like it was like a wet fart. Yeah. It was horrible. And it was made even worse by the presentation. If you think back to the PlayStation 4 when it got announced and the actual reveal happened back in February of 2013, it was a flashy meeting in New York City. They invited a bunch of press to it, and they had kind of a light show. They had a big stage, and it was a lot of fanfare around the PlayStation name and the PlayStation 4. They showed off some games running. It just felt like, okay, yeah, Mark Cerny came out and he got into the technical side of the machine and got a little bit into the weeds of it all, but a lot of it also talked about kind of the consumer focus side of it. And so gamers got legitimately excited about the PlayStation 4. It was like, wow, this thing is awesome. This event had none of that. We had Jim Ryan, I think it was, that came out and introduced the event, and it looked like old man on stage, like had no enthusiasm. And they had this it wasn't a fake audience per se, but you had these audience members that were basically silhouettes in front of Mark Cerny to make it seem like he's talking to an audience, and it just, it was a snore fest. Yes, there was a ton of information that came out of it. Some good stats came out of it, but in terms of a reveal event, this was a swing and a miss, big time. So, really disappointed that Sony did that. I wish they had kind of just followed the same cues they had with the PlayStation 4. It feels like there's a very different leadership team in charge of PlayStation 5 right now than what we saw with the PlayStation.
So what jumps out at me here is 825 gigabytes SSD. What?
Okay, so let's just go through the stats real quick, and we'll do our comparisons. It is using also a Zen 2 8-core CPU.
8 cores?
It's at
8
cores.
You say? What is it?
8 core Zen 2.
That's what does the Xbox have?
8 cores.
8.
Same thing.
Okay, thank you.
I would very much think these are very much same chips, if you will. Different frequencies. So this is set up for 3.5 gigahertz variable frequency, and that's very important. We're going to talk about variable frequencies a lot with the PlayStation 5.
No, we're not.
Because we are. Their GPU is a 10.28 teraflop machine with 36 compute units at 2.2 gigahertz with a variable frequency. And they talk about the variable frequencies in that these are the 3.5 gigahertz and the 2.2 gigahertz are the maximum frequency rate that they can run at. They will not be running at that all of the time. And in fact, the majority of the time they will be running lower. So the reality is that 10.28 teraflops is kind of the maximum potential for the PlayStation 5 from a graphical standpoint. Now, what does that really mean? it's going to be close to the Xbox. You're not going to see any huge differences, I don't think. Memory interface is very much the same. They went just for a straight 16 gigabits of GDDR6 at 256 bits per second. So, a one giant unified pool of memory versus the split memory of the Xbox. So different there. Now, you mentioned the SSD. So Sony put a lot of their R&D into creating a new kind of standard for SSD. And so they have a custom SSD inside of the PlayStation 5. It is actually about double the speed of what the Xbox Series X is going to have. So its raw numbers, 5.5 gigabits a second raw, and then it can get if it's compressed file. That is insanely fast. And so their comments around this was basically that this SSD is going to allow them to do some things that they wouldn't be able to do normally, blah, blah, blah. But they also went with a 825 gigabit SSD because they wanted to save on costs. They actually talked about this in that Snorefest that Sony put out there. This was a cost savings measure on their part. So it actually is not a full terabyte. However, unlike the Xbox, they do allow for memory expansion, and it will be through kind of a non-proprietary SSD. So you can buy other manufacturers' SSDs and put them in.
I need more drink.
However, I know, but the new SSDs for the PlayStation have to meet their certification.
Okay. Stop. I'm stopping it. Stop it. Okay. Jesus.
I know.
Okay, so what the hell were the Sony people crying into their glasses for this week? Why were they?
Well, the reason why they were upset because they had been hoping and the fanboy wars were talking about teraflops, because teraflops is like horsepower to people. It's an easy number to kind of comprehend. The more teraflops you have, the more powerful your machine. So seeing that the PlayStation 5 was only 10.28 teraflops, and the reality is it's probably going to be closer to 9.2 on a regular basis, that drove people to the wall because they had been hoping and putting all of their hopes on the fact that it was going to be more than the Xbox Series X.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it matters. I think these machines are ultimately going to be very similar.
Okay, fair enough. So the
Agreed.
Xbox
And
is
yes, Scott Stubby, I do love the techno. I love the specs. I eat it up. I love
all right.
it. Yes.
So it's going to come. So here's the Robin, the bongo bit. Okay.
Right.
So at this moment in time, the Xbox looks like a more powerful machine. Okay. Slightly,
Right.
marginally, but like before, it will come down to the games. So
Correct.
Microsoft need to come good with all the studios that they bought for the launch of this thing. So, that's the thing. The PlayStation thing has an awful lot of goodwill from The Last of Us and all those sorts of things, and God of War and that sort of stuff. It has a lot of goodwill, and that will carry on into the PlayStation 5 no matter what. But the swing, the Microsoft, like Game Pass and all the stuff that they've been doing, have been really, really good. They've been making good headway where Sony don't seem to be making as much effort looking after the players, for the players, just as much. Because they're in the lead as far as sales are concerned. Both have done very, very well. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the quality of the games of these new studios and what they're going to look like on this new Xbox. So. But it's great. Good time for us. Good. That's it.
Good machines.
Excellent. Can't wait.
That's it.
Can't wait. And again, very interesting of what's going to happen. Again, we touched this last week because of the Kung Fu Flu. The way this is all going to go this year, because right now they should be talking about these and launching them and going bananas about them and building it up, and half the staff are at home, or 3/4 of the staff are at home. So this build-up year, even for that, is going to be very, very challenging for the launch of these machines. Now, the joy about the internet is YouTube is there, and Facebook and Twitter and TikTok and all of those places, which is where E3 is not the most important thing in the world. Even with E3, most of us watch it on YouTube or Twitch. So
True.
mightn't make any much difference whatsoever to the launch of these things, but not ideal for marketing campaigns.
Well, I think that the marketing campaigns I don't think are going to get impacted. I think the reality is manufacturing could get impacted. That's, I think, I mean, we literally could see shortages of machines because they just haven't been able to get them manufactured fast enough. But I think for sure Microsoft seems like they are hell-bent on launching this year. Sony, I could see potentially trying to push this out, but I think the reality is if they feel Microsoft is going to launch, they don't want to give that position up. So I think we can still expect both these machines to come out in November or sometime thereabouts.
Yeah.
And my guess also is they're going to be somewhere between, I would think, $450 and $500. I don't think we see another $399 machine. Based on what we've been hearing about the costs, the fact that Sony cut the SSD down to try and save on costs tells you a lot.
Do they have a different, or you call it SKUs? So like the new Xbox Series X has a more basic SKU for wee Johnny.
No, not as of right now. There is rumors that there is going to be secondary SKUs. There was rumors that PlayStation might also do the same thing, but we know there's been a rumor around a codename machine called Lockhart, which is supposed to be kind of halved, if you will, in terms of the power of what the Series X can offer up. And I think really it's the rumor that's out there makes it seem like it's a machine that's designed for maybe those people that don't have a 4K TV. So they don't need to have all that power to display 4K. Maybe they only need it for 1080p or 1440. So that machine could potentially be introduced. We just don't know. We don't even know if it's actually real yet.
Finally, Scott Stubby said, can I turn the volume down?
Turn me down?
Yeah.
Or you down?
Turn the volume down when you were talking about that stuff?
No.
I did.
Never. You cannot silence me, Scott. You cannot silence me.
I'm working. Anyway. I'm working. Okay.
All
good
right.
Stuff.
Yes. Let's talk about games coming up. Gary, you're our new Kim.
Well, thanks, y'all. That's terrible. How's that?
That's good.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's a new cough. New cough.
Oh, gosh.
I don't
Robin.
jerk.
All right, this week on the PC, Half-Life Alyx, March 23rd. March 23rd, we have The Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel 3 on PC. March 24th, Bleeding Edge on the Xbone and PC, Deep Sky Derelicts on the PlayStation 4, and Moons of Madness on PlayStation 4 and Xbox. March 27th, Gigantoros, the game. PlayStation 4, Xbox, Switch, and PC. It's going everywhere. It's Gigantoros.
It's actually off of a kid's cartoon, for the record, just so you know.
I don't know that, but thank you. I'm getting old. See the gray hair that I cut?
Yeah.
Croc Womble. Is that for our friend Womble?
Maybe.
Hardened edition. It could be with his hardened abs. I don't know. PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, PC. Cock Womble, I mean. I'm sorry. Hardened edition. I read that wrong. I'm sorry. Lost Worlds, Beyond the Page on Stadia or Studia.
Oh, wow.
March 27th. One Piece Pirate Warriors 4, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, PC. And also Saints Row 4 Re-Elected on the Switch, March 27th. I guess that is some sort of DLC. And that is all we have.
Yeah, I think we also need to play the Spot the Fake game. If you had to guess, Gary, out of that list, what game would be fake in your guess?
Cock Womble.
You fucking cockwomble. Anyway. Hardened edition.
I love it. It's on every freaking console.
Yes.
All right,
all
we
right.
have this other thing called Victory Achieved, and then what is we give away money when you finish games. Pretty simple. You just finish a game and you get entered into a free draw, and we pull them out, and very, very soon, actually, if we are around and we're alive in the next week or so, at the end of this month, we will pull a name out of my underpants, and that person will win some money. They will win either $20 or £15 to spend on PSN, XBL, Steam, wherever you want to do it. And all you have to do is finish the game with the credits in the background, take a selfie of yourself, of course, with the credits in the background, and tweet that off to @OC_podcast with the hashtag victory achieved. And people that did it this week who survived, Mr. Miyagi, he finished Oxenfree, fabulous little game. John Mouse is back to his PlayStation 2 again, dead to rights. They don't pay teachers enough money. That's why he's on the PlayStation 2. And Danak TQ, he finished Yakuza 3. So
actually, I just saw another tweet. I think Kim Woods finished Cockwomble.
Yeah, she was chewing on it for a while. She's been chewing on it for months and months and months.
Congratulations, Kim.
Very good. And some sexy beast will now say something to you nicely. He's begging for it.
You all have a victory's achieved. Victory's achieved. You have one. A victory's achieved.
Wow. I didn't know it did that.
Oh God. Maybe the end of the world coming is a good thing. All right. Look, if you have made it this far, we really very much appreciate you being a part of all of this nonsense. I'm trying to pull up. Gary, can you pull up all of the people in the chat? I know we've had a couple different people in there.
No, I don't think I can, but I can try.
All right.
Is there a way to see a history?
Well, I can't see it on my phone.
Scott, I don't know. Are they going to
I
spare some lunch? If there's nobody left in the world to make them, Scott, maybe they might be scarce at lunch.
Yeah, we talked about it. Scott had asked if there was going to be a shortage on the machines. I think there could be. It's hard to say right now. Typically speaking, the machines don't start getting manufactured until July, August. So
buy them like my toilet roll.
Yeah, there's that. Anyway, look, if you have been in the chat, and we know that Scott Stubby is there. We saw Little Lord was in there previous. So look, we appreciate everybody being part of the show. If there were lurkers in there, and I can't see you, so apologies, but lurk away. We love everybody. We want people to be having fun right now in the face of the craziness. Gaming brings us together. It's brought our communities together for a long time. And so this whole notion of basically, stay in shelter, gamers, we're used to it. However, it's the rest of the world that's having to get used to it. And I will say also, it's us having to get used to the rest of the world now coming into our homes and being part of the stay in shelter stuff. So anyway, look, we'll be back. We'll be back next weekend. 9 p.m. in the UK, 1 p.m. on the West Coast, 4 p.m. in the East Coast, 5 p.m. in the Central Time Zone, 6 p.m. on Easter Island if it still exists, and 7 a.m. in Australia if the zombie hordes have not taken over by then. We are on Twitch, we are on Mixer, we are on YouTube. So find us, come be part of it live. If you can't be part of it live, if you are running for your lives but you still have cell phone service, you can download the podcast to your favorite podcast listening device and do it. Check us out on iTunes, on Stitcher, iTunes, all that good stuff. Just give us a listen. That's all we ask. Robin, I think we should play Nicole right about now because we have had sightings of Nicole. We're hoping we can actually drag her into a show one of these days.
You like us. We like you. See where I'm going with this? Follow us on Twitter @OC_podcast. Check us out on Facebook, fb.ocpod.com, or email us, podcast@ocpod.com. We'd love to hear from you.
All right. On that note, Gary, why don't you start out some shout-outs?
I'll shout you guys out. Thanks for having me back and keeping the seat here. I know it's been empty and dusty, but nonetheless, it's still comfortable and
They're nice.
I love it. And I'll do self-promotion because I do have a podcast that I do on the weekdays called The World According to Gar. Oh, yeah. And it's a quite funny show. We've done 38 episodes. We don't talk about games. Once in a while when I do, my co-host shuts me down. But I try to sneak them in once in a while. and that's going fun. We're having a good time with that. So if you get a chance, check out The World According to Gar or hashtag GarCast.
Nice.
I'm not allowed to start it.
I'll throw it over to you, Robin.
Okay, good. Wednesday evening of this week, 9 o'clock UK time. I'm going to try and do something. If you're interested, please contact me at Bongo the Scene, or any other way you want to contact me through Xbox or anything, at Bongo the Scene, whatever it is. I want to watch a movie with people that want to watch a movie. So we're going to, if you can install Netflix Party, just search for Netflix Party. It's a free app that we can share together and chat while we watch a movie together. Haven't quite decided, but if you want to watch, we'll watch something stupid, like, I don't know, Blade Runner, Back to the Future, Soylent Green, something that we
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead, something like that.
There you go.
Perfect. There we are. Shaun of the Dead. I don't know if it's available on Netflix, but something like that we'll watch together. We'll have a few beers, we'll have a laugh and a chat. So if you're around Wednesday evening, 9 o'clock UK, work it out. If it has to be 10 o'clock UK, fair enough, I don't mind. Seeing that we're all sitting around, we're not necessarily talking about games, but we'll maybe chat away here. So 9 o'clock this Wednesday coming, install Netflix Party. It's very, very simple. There's instructions there. You install it, you create a party, you open the video on Netflix and join the party. Pretty simple. You probably have to be a subscriber to Netflix, but apart from that, that's, I think it'll be a bit of fun. And in these stupid times, when it's all a bit kind of crazy, let's have a beer and watch a movie together. Okay, so who do I want to shout out? All of our podcast friends and all of the people that are out there, the podcasters that are not here tonight. I want to shout out Mark and Jenny especially, because I know Jenny would be susceptible to the zombie juice, so let's keep Jenny safe. And to the people out there that are making decisions for us, it's a hiding to nothing. It's a job that I would not want to do. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for the people that are in the grocery stores and the hospitals and all of the horrible places that we don't want to be. Let's respect them by not going out and spreading this thing around. Let's give ourselves a chance by staying away from each other for just a short while. And thank the person in your grocery store or the Amazon delivery man or whoever it is that comes to your Ocado or whoever's delivering Whole Foods to your door. Thank them for their service. I know it seems a bit weird, but yeah, they're risking their health to help us. So to everybody, let's get through this and play games while we're doing it. And if you need to speak to somebody, reach out to Greg or myself or Mark or Phil or Kim or any of us or Gary if you're really stuck. And we're here. We'll just just for a chat. Okay, we don't need your life story, but if you need to chat to somebody, please contact us rather than sitting completely by yourselves. And if you need help, let us know. We'll do our best to help you in any way we can. Greg.
Well, that was awfully sensible, Robin. Look, these are crazy times, but we have each other. So thank you to the two of you for making the show. Gary, amazingly, you look great. You are healthy. You are in the middle of the wildlands. So we fear for you, but we are glad to see you're doing okay. Robin, as always, it's
you hear the apocalypse behind me?
Yeah, the apocalypse is kicking off. Never mind. Gary is going to die.
Teenage boys.
Yeah, no. But also, just to kind of echo what Robin was saying, look, I saw actually a very interesting video from a truck driver, and he was talking about the situation that we face right now. And to be perfectly honest, I hope that when we're done with all of this, we will continue to look at the people that work the grocery stores, that are the truck drivers, and realize they have very difficult jobs. I think a lot of us looked at them prior to this with maybe a little bit of, thumbing our nose at them, so to speak. And now, hey, we're singing their praises. Let's sing their praises beyond this and realize that these people are performing jobs that are hard, but they're important, and let's make their lives easier. So shout out to all of them. Whether they be a truck driver, a grocery worker, a hospital worker, a police officer. These are all, we've come to realize these are all very important jobs within our society. We shouldn't be taking them for granted, and hopefully we don't moving forward. Also, please let this end soon, because my wife has become very, very good at finding things to be done around the house. My honey-do list is growing by the minute. We've already painted the kitchen. The bedroom is going to be next. Wow. Yeah. Things are kicking off at Chez de Lacy very quickly, and I just want to be able to play games. And the more I have to do on a honey-do list, the tougher my life becomes. So, also shout out to my mom. She is ill, not coronavirus related, thankfully, but obviously I want her to get better soon. And sadly for my mom and my dad, they're going to be celebrating their 80th birthdays during the apocalypse. I don't know that we're going to be able to throw the birthday bash we wanted to hold for them, but well, we'll get through it. We'll get through it, and then we will celebrate when we're done with it all. That being said, go out, be safe, have fun. Check back in next week. We'll be here in some fashion or another. We love everybody, and
thank you for listening to the Overseas Connection podcast.
Love you.
See you same time next week.
And I'm gonna press this button.